The desert sun blazed over the dry plains, turning every rock and patch of scrub into a shimmer of heat. She lay crouched in the sparse shade of a mesquite, trembling from hunger, thirst, and exhaustion. Her hands were scraped and raw from crawling over stones, her clothes tattered from weeks on the run. Around her, vultures circled high above, waiting patiently, sensing the scent of weakness on the wind. She had been abandoned, left behind by those who should have protected her. Her tribe scattered after a skirmish with rival men, and she had been overlooked, falling prey to the harsh law of survival. Every step she had taken since the attack had been a test of her endurance, a desperate fight to stay alive. From the ridge above, a figure emerged, his boots kicking up dust in long, purposeful strides. A man alone in the desert could be as dangerous as any predator, but something in the way he moved, measured, deliberate, cautious, gave her a sliver of hope. His hat shadowed his eyes and his rifle hung across his shoulder, a constant reminder that trust was earned, not given. She whispered a prayer, hoping he could not hear her, that he would pass and leave her to the vultures. But he stopped, scanning the ground, and spotted her trembling form in the weak shade. He raised a hand, signaling he meant no harm, and in that gesture, she found the courage to move. Please, she said, her voice hoarse, almost swallowed by the wind. Help me. The man approached slowly, lowering his rifle completely. He knelt a safe distance away, pulling water from his canteen and holding it out. Drink, he said simply, his tone calm, steady. Hesitantly, she took it, the liquid sweet and cool against her parched throat. The vultures, sensing a shift, circled a little higher, confused by the presence of life stronger than anticipated. I cannot go back, she admitted, tears welling in her eyes. If they find me, they will kill me. The man listened without interrupting. He had seen fear before, had seen it turn people desperate, reckless. But this was different. This was the look of someone who had already faced death and now hoped, perhaps too late, that mercy still existed. He offered food next, a small loaf of bread, salted meat wrapped in cloth. She ate slowly, aware of every crumb, as if the act itself were sacred. Who are you? He asked, breaking the quiet between them, not demanding answers, only curiosity. I am alone, she replied, and hunted. The man helped her stand, supporting her weight as they walked toward a nearby cabin he owned. It was modest, simple, yet stood solid against the desert winds, a place of shelter in a world of threat. Inside, he offered a blanket and a place by the fire. She sank to the floor, too weak to protest, her mind spinning from the sudden reprieve. Night came with its usual cold bite. He kept watch by the window, rifle ready but relaxed, eyes trained on the horizon, haunted by memories of pursuit and betrayal, stretches, but comforted by the knowledge that she was alive. Days passed. For the first time, the desert continued to test. She did not wake to immediate sun scorching the land, wind whipping dust into eyes. But the man never faltered in his care. He taught her where to find herbs, how to catch small game, how to read the sky for storms. She learned that survival could also mean safety, not only flight, but only. Slowly, trust grew between them. She shared fragments of her life, songs her mother had taught, the rhythm of the seasons, the stories of her people. He shared his own losses, the emptiness that came from years alone on the harsh land. Together, they began to see the world differently, through empathy rather than fear. One evening, a group of strangers appeared at the edge of his property. The man positioned himself between her and them, his presence firm and unwavering. The strangers demanded answers, spoke of debts and obligations, yet she stood beside him, no longer trembling, no longer hiding. Together they were a unit, a small island of resolve in a hostile world. They left without violence. The rancher's actions had communicated more than words could. Kindness could be a shield as effective as any gun. She began to help more actively around the cabin, mending, cooking, tending to animals. Her presence brought life back to the place, her laughter slowly piercing the silence that had dominated the land. Seasons changed. Winter brought snow. Spring brought rain. Through it all, she remained. The man had offered sanctuary without demand, and she had chosen to stay because she wanted to, not because she owed anything. Over time, they spoke of futures, of possibilities beyond survival. Their bond deepened not through grand gestures but through shared labor, shared meals, and shared quiet. She was no longer prey. She had become a partner in life, a companion whose presence strengthened the man who had once walked alone. Together, they carved out a new kind of family, born not of obligation, but of choice. The desert continued to challenge them. Threats came and went, neighbors tested patience, weather battered the land. Yet through every trial, they faced it together, a testament to courage, resilience, and the transformative power of mercy. In time, she reflected on the day she had nearly been left for the vultures. The memory was sharp but no longer painful. It was a reminder of survival, yes, but also of trust, and of how one act of courage could rewrite a life. The man had risked everything, and she had been brave enough to accept help. That single moment had changed everything. Years later, she would tell her story, not of fear, not of death, but of the cowboy who had chosen humanity over indifference, who had given her a second chance, and he would remember her eyes that first day, fearful, yet together they thrived on the harsh land, and know that the choice to save her even in a world built on survival and strength, mercy could create life, community, and love where none had existed before. The vultures never returned, but life, in all its fragile beauty, courageous act he had ever made, and flourished.